Hey guys, welcome back to another movie review on YouTube. Last review I did was of the film Lean on Me, which was part of my series that I've been doing lately of late 1980s tough love educator films. I've been focusing on that genre and films that came out that fit that category between the years 1987 to 1989. And as I said in that review, I liked Lean on Me, but I did have some issues with it. I felt that some of the characters could have been developed better, including the main character, Joe Clark, played by Morgan Freeman. He did a great job. I really enjoyed the performance of him and the other actors, and I enjoyed a lot of the verbal sparring sessions that they all had with one another. It was very entertaining. But I do wish that they had put a little more character development into it, and I also was hoping that they would have had a little more veracity in the storytelling. I wish they would have done something that was perhaps a little closer to what actually happened in real life. No such issue exists with my next film that I'm going to be talking about in this series, which is Stand and Deliver. It was my favorite of the three ranked movies that fit this category, tough love educator films that came out between 1987 and 1989. This was the second of the three that came out. It was directed by Ramon Menendez, and it starred Edward James Olmos in a role that got him an Academy Award nomination. He played Jaime Escalante, who was a real math teacher who taught at Garfield High School in Los Angeles. And the story is about him coming to the high school, which was a low-income, mostly Hispanic high school in East Los Angeles. And it starts off with him. He's there to teach computers, but they don't have computers, so he has to teach math instead. And he starts off just teaching basic math, works his way up to algebra, and he uses a lot of interesting and unique and unconventional methods to get the kids to be excited about algebra, to get them to learn algebra. And he's doing a good job. He's doing well, but the school is going to be put on probation because it is a low-income high school, and they could lose their accreditation. And he just feels that they need to work harder. He feels he could work harder, he can do more, so he starts being tougher on the kids and getting them to work harder and do more. And then eventually he works his way up and says, I can actually teach these kids AP calculus. And as anyone knows who has taken calculus, it's a very complex type of mathematics, and the AP exam is no easy business. Like, it's definitely thought-provoking and challenging and sophisticated. So he starts teaching them AP calculus, and the kids do very well in the exam. For most Hollywood movies, that would be enough to just have this guy start off from point A and get to point B and all the space in between, and they wind up at the end of the film taking the exam and doing well. That would be enough for most movies. But what's very interesting about this story is that that's really only the beginning of the story, because the students are then accused of cheating on the exam. So they have to retake the exam. And there's a great scene where Jaime Escalante goes down to the offices of the Educational Testing Service, and he confronts two of the administrators, one of whom is played by Andy Garcia. And he has this really great confrontation where he accuses them of racism, of discrimination. And initially he says that they shouldn't have to retake the test, because then everyone will assume that they cheated if they do wind up retaking the test. But despite his misgivings about that, the students do retake the test, and they do exceptionally well on it, and then their original scores are reinstated. And it's a great movie. I really have no issues with Stand and Deliver. I think it's just an outstanding film. The acting is great across the board. Obviously, Edward James Olmos is fantastic as Jaime Escalante. You also get some good performances from Andy Garcia as one of the ETS administrators, and Lou Diamond Phillips, who plays Angel, who's one of the kids in Jaime Escalante's class. He's like this gang kid who uh, struggles with math a little bit, but he winds up getting a 5, a perfect score on the AP exam. And the great thing about Stand and Deliver is, well, there's a lot of great things about it, but one of the great things about Stand and Deliver is that it does take the time to focus on all of these characters. Jaime Escalante, you get to see him spend time with his wife and kids. I had mentioned this in my Lean on Me review, is that I felt that the movie didn't show enough of Joe Clark outside of the school. Not the case in Stand and Deliver. You get to spend a lot of time with Jaime Escalante outside of school. You get to see him spend time with his wife and his kids, and you really feel what he's going through, especially when the class is accused of cheating, the stress that he's under. He actually has a heart attack and winds up in the hospital, and he still teaches the class from the hospital. Like, he gives them sample problems to work on, passes them to the nurse, and the nurse delivers it to the kids at the class to help them prepare for the exam. And you just had a richly developed, fully fleshed out character. You really got to know this guy, and you got to understand and experience what he was going through. And I would even say the same of, the other characters in the movie. Like, you get to spend time with Lou Diamond Phillips, and you see that he has a grandmother who's sick, and he has to take her to the hospital, and that causes him to be late to class. And Jaime Escalante initially is not sympathetic to that, and Angel gets mad, and you can understand why he would be mad, because he really did have a legitimate reason why he had to miss the class. And some of the other characters as well, like there's this character Pancho. I don't have the actor's name, but he is initially going to drop out of the class, and Jaime Escalante shows him how it's important for him to stay in the class, and that even though he thinks he can make more money getting a job elsewhere, it's not the right answer, that school is the right answer, and that he needs to stay in school. Same with another character, Anna Delgado. She works at her parents' restaurant, and initially she was going to drop out of school, but she's a very smart student, good student, and Jaime Escalante goes to the restaurant to speak with the dad, and he has a bit of a confrontation with the father, because the father's like, well, no, the girl Anna is needed here to help with the restaurant, but Jaime Escalante says she can help the family more, and she can have a better life for herself if she finishes school and gets a good education and goes to college and that kind of thing. So you just get a sense of like all these different characters of the students, of Jaime Escalante, and that's what I think gives it more of a texture, and what allows Stand and Deliver to really blossom as a film. That you really get a sense of all these characters, what they're going through. Like, there's another character, Lupe, and you get to see how difficult it is for her to study at night, because she has 2 kids that she has to look after, and her mom works a night job. So you get some sense of that as well. Like just a feeling that these students felt like real people. They felt like people that you were sympathetic for, and that you cared about, and that you were studying with them, and that you were in the experience with them. Like it just says a lot about the way that the film was executed. And I also felt that was something that distinguished Stand and Deliver from the other films, or from Lean on Me, I should say, is the veracity of the events that took place. Basically, everything that happens in the movie happened in real life. It may not have been as condensed as it was for the movie. It may have been spread out over a longer period of time, but it all happened. And I guess the one thing that did happen that they didn't include in the movie, and it's not the fault of the movie because they made the movie before the full details came out, but unfortunately it was revealed that the students did in fact cheat. And in real life, there was an investigation done, and there were reports that came out that there was actually cheating going on in the exam. And so, does that take away from the movie? Not really. I don't think so. I think it's still an effective movie, and I think it still stands on its own in spite of that. Because the way that they position it in the movie is that it's like this elitist thing, and they're questioning the abilities of these Hispanic students from a low-income neighborhood. That's kind of the subtext that comes out of the accusation that they cheated, like especially in Jaime Escalante's confrontation with the ETS investigators. And I still think that that is there. I still think that the ETS kind of represents society at large, questioning whether these kids are really good at math. But I don't think it takes away from the movie. I think it still holds up on its own. And the movie does raise the possibility that they did cheat, because Jaime Escalante goes to his faculty head, who says that she does believe that they cheated. She's like, I watch the news every night, and I see a lot of people go to trial, and I believe that most people who are accused of something are guilty. So the film does include the possibility that they did cheat. But in the end, it didn't matter. They still really knew their calculus, because when they retook the test under strict conditions, they all did exceptionally well, and all the original scores were reinstated. So in a way, it didn't matter that they had cheated. They proved that they knew calculus and that they really were as good as the original scores indicated. So it's a great movie. I mean, really, Stand and Deliver is definitely, all the actors are great. The writing is good. The story is well told. It's well executed. It really is an inspirational film. It makes you think. It makes you care about these characters, and it's just knowing that the accuracy of the events was intact, and that all the characters were developed fully enough that you really cared about what they were going through. It just makes for an entertaining and inspirational movie experience, and I think it's by far and away one of the best teacher movies that's ever been made. I know a lot of high school classes showed this movie, a lot of math classes show this movie, and with good reason, because I think it is a good motivational tool for kids. You get to see how the kids learn algebra and calculus. You see the process that Jaime Escalante puts in place to get these kids to learn this stuff. And yeah, I mean, it really. I have no real criticisms of it. I have no real issues of it. So I would highly, highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't not yet seen Stand and Deliver, my favorite of the late 1980s tough love educator films. So thanks for watching, and take care. Bye-bye.